Waiting on some folks to come in. Waiting on somebody, anybody to let me know that I'm not in this world alone. Let's see. Who's going to jump on? Who's going to jump on? Hey family, it just said that I have a weak connection, so I hope I'm gonna be all right here. Al Kumar coming to you live for a family discussion. Hoping you guys can join me in just talking about some of the things that's going on currently in the world today, in this society, in your community, on your street, in your house. I'm home in my backyard. Look, you see behind me? See that right there? That's my garden, my raised garden. So I've been out today doing some harvesting. Let me show you guys. Look at this. I don't know if this is good or bad or right or wrong, but this is a cucumber. This thing is huge. And so I think I just let it grow too long. All the squash grow this big though. So these are a couple of things that I grew from the garden, just FYI. Hey Lakeem, peace beloved. But I just want to see what's on you guys' mind. What's on you guys' mind about what's going on? The different things that attract us, attract our attention, and hopefully we can talk about it. Like there was this march. Yeah, it's organic, all organic, 100%. The only thing that was sprayed on these vegetables, this is probably the biggest cucumber I've grown though, really. I haven't seen them this big, and they were really a lot more darker green, like last month. They're still growing actually, but like last month and stuff like that, they were a lot greener. I think we got a lot of rain these past few weeks, and I'm sure that had a lot to do with why the discoloration on them, how they look yellowish greenish as opposed to dark green. But all my cucumbers didn't come out like this. So yeah, I'm in the DMV area, for those who may not know. I'm right on the outskirts of Washington, D.C., a stone's throw. I can get to D.C. from where I am in about a 10-minute drive. And there was a march, I think the 50th anniversary march on Washington was this past Friday. So a lot of people was in from out of town, because where I set up my boutique a few days a week, there were a lot of customer base that came through that was from out of town. And I kept saying, well, all these out of towners. And they were like, yeah, we're here for the march. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. So clearly there was a lot of people, because I'm in Prince George's County, and they were all in PG County and everything else for the march. But question, how effective has these marches been for us? So it's a 50-year anniversary, and so 50 years prior to this, there was another march on Washington when Dr. Martin Luther King and, you know, a lot of those who walked with him march. The rallying cry then was jobs and justice. And from what I understand, the cry this last Friday was for the same thing, justice. So I'm wondering, y'all help, you know, I like for these things to be a conversation. So jump in there, share with me your thoughts, your feelings. Does marching help advance our cause? If so, how? Does it not? If not, then why do we continue? I mean, I just want us to really, instead of just like saying, oh, that mess ain't gonna work and moving on, let's talk about it. Does it work? Hey, Lakeem. Okay, I'll show more vegetables. Actually, I do a weekly series actually called My First Garden on Instagram. So if you're linked up to Instagram under my same name, under the same name I am under Facebook, you can find me on Instagram, and I do a weekly series. Well, I've been bad. I haven't been. I started off weekly. Now it's more like bi-weekly. But I started from the very beginning. Before that, you see that? Before that fence was even there, before that the garden was even raised and all that stuff. I started and to show from the very beginning to this point of all the things that I learned about my first time gardening, and all the do's and don'ts. So yeah, check that out over on Instagram if you'd like to know more about that. Let's see who had something to share about the March on Washington. Katia had to say that framing has to be unpacked. What do you mean by that? Can you go to a little bit more elaboration? I wish I can bring y'all up on my screen. There was a time when we could do that. Let me see. Look like I can. So anybody request to be in? Okay. So I just added the little link, so if it works, if you want to jump on the screen and that way you can talk, we can talk together. Video wise, just hit the request button and I'll pull you up on the screen. Other than that, yeah, just chat out with you guys. Framing, unpacking, marching. Okay, what are we framing? What are we framing? What are we unpacking? So again, my question was, does it work? Is it beneficial? Does it advance our cause? Does it help us? Does it help us in any way? If so, what way? What way does marching, coming together for a rallying call? One brother broke it down one time to me, and he explained that marching, the main purpose is to draw attention to your cause, right? So, okay, so if we're marching for the same things that we've been marching for over 50 years, and it's not being effective, then how much more attention do we need to draw to it? I wonder why we put so much energy behind things that don't benefit us. At least I see, man. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. And so we throw our weight and energy behind so much ineffective things where we can be doing so many other different things with our energy and weight that are effective. So it's like, why do we revert back to the same old thing over and over and over again when we can clearly see that it's not being beneficial to us? Why do we do that? Okay, Katia said, let me go to Lakeem first. It depends on what you're watching for. Craig said, the only problem is not being proactive after the march. That's a good point. Katia says, so civil rights legislation happened. So it does advance or has, but I think framing it as marching may veil that it is in fact a soft, violent act. Did marching actually help? Did the act of marching help to enact civil rights though? I'd question that. Because what I learned from just the pages of history and watching the unfolding is that usually acts of aggression is what causes the power structure to reshape itself. I mean, why would they? I mean, if they don't have any reasoning, if the economic wheels are still turning, You know what I'm saying? If the institutions are still in place, as they always have been, you know what I'm saying? How is going to the streets and holding a placate card affecting that? You know what I'm saying? Nothing, power concedes nothing without a demand. So we could say all day long, stop that. But that you would have to be dealing with some individuals on the opposite end that have compassion and are sympathetic to your pleas in order for them to say, oh, okay, I'm gonna stop. So what benefit do they have to stop doing what they're doing just because we asking? It's usually when bricks are thrown and fires are started and money is being removed, or something that forces the powers that be to shift in their own way, is when change comes about, not because we ask them to. You must execute a plan and stay consistent. Yeah, and the thing is, like, plan. What is the plan? So I heard people, and I've asked, people who went to the march was like, yeah, it was a good turnout. Yay, rah, rah, rah. And I'm like, oh, wow, yes, that was a good turnout. So what's the plan? What's the plan for the turnout? I mean, what happens now? And I never get a response. I always just get silence on the other end. So I think we've in a place now that we've grown so comfortable and content with the act of marching that we don't even think, our minds don't even go to next phase. What's the next phase? Okay, what do we do now? And I know I can hear some of y'all now saying vote. Vote, we vote, right? Is that what we do? Is that the next phase? We vote for another white man to enact laws and rulership over us? Is that the plan? That's the master plan? Help me out. Let me know, family. Our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb, as taught by Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Yes. What does that mean? What does that look like? What do we do with unity? You know what I'm saying? Does that mean all of us collectively coming together physically? Does it mean that we're all in the one frame of mind state? What does that mean? Let's break that unity down. We need to pull our resources together and build our own black nation. What does that look like? Because you have a lot of people like him, and I'm with you. Don't get me wrong now. I'm with you. But there's a lot of people who hear that, and the construct of that is so outside of their realm of thought, you know what I'm saying, that they can't even picture it. So that's why I'm asking y'all to break it down. So, break it down for us so we can better understand clearly, what does that look like? What does that look like for us to all come together and create our own nation? We create it physically here in America? Who's going to start? Who's going to run that show? What does that mean for those who, do we got to move out of our houses? Break it down for us. Oh gosh, I hope I can get all of you guys in here. I'm coming all the way down. Hey Rick, I hope you add to this discussion, because you always have some insightful things to share. Craig, we have no other choice but to do for self now. What does that mean? And I don't want y'all to think that I'm I'm going against what you're saying. I want us to discuss this. And if you want to jump on the screen, if I can pull you up, I will. Just request to get up on the screen, and that way you don't have to type out everything that's on your mind. You can just speak it. We're not going to get everyone, because so many focus on petty differences. That is true. That's always been, right? That's silly thought to even think that 100% of the people will be on board with 100% of anything. That's never been the case in any nation, ever. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So I'm with you. I think it's going to take like-minded individuals. But what happens is that there's always the foremost. There's always a few, and it's always been a few, it ain't a whole rack either, a few who chart the course, who was out front. They're the ones with the path, where there is no path. They're there with the machete. And they're chopping down weed, and they're chopping down grass, and they're chopping down brush, and they paving the way. And what happens is the rest of us, now we can see clearer because the path has been paved. Somebody else have already moved forward before us, so we can see that it's possible to go that direction because look, they went in that direction. And so that's usually what happens when change occurs, that the few go out and they're out front, and then the rest follow. And that's how it's always been for every civilization that ever was. Hey David. Hey Anitra, thanks for joining. Lakeem says we're going to soon be forced to do for ourselves as masses of us start suffering. What does that look like? What do you mean by that? Because now you're scaring folks, I'm sure. But again, you know, you're right on point to me. You're right on point. I think we get in routines so much so to where to even see outside of our regular everyday routines, most of us just don't do that. And so we can't even fathom what's coming up ahead. But again, there's some people who can. There's some people who they watch trends, they follow the sources of information. And they know the history, because that's important too. What happened back there, and history always repeats. And so when you know history, you know the details of what happened back then, you can better see up ahead. You'll have foresight because you're just following the trends of history, like a weatherman that maps out the weather, you know, for what's coming 2 weeks from now. And like, how? I don't know. I sit here, I'm out here, and I don't know what the element's going to do 2 weeks from now. But there's some people who can pierce it, who can map it out with really good accuracy and tell you that next Monday it's going to rain, or it's going to be cloudy, or look for a snowstorm. How do they know that? How do they know that? Because they go back and they're able to take a timeline and get all that information and gather it all together, and they're able to then see clearly up ahead. So the same thing with some of us, that we can see what's coming where others cannot. And family, man, I ain't here to scare nobody. You know what I'm saying? And I'm an optimist. I pride myself in being an optimist. But clearly, things are going to get a whole lot worse before they get better. You know, you're watching, pay attention to all these street brawls and fights going out here, and all these protests all over the place, and police getting shot, and police killing people, and left and right. Now it's becoming like an everyday occurrence. You know what I'm saying? So, and what is happening right now to stop or to prevent those things from happening even more? There's nothing. Actually, the drums of the drumbeat of aggression is getting stronger and stronger, and louder and more. So be warned that, you know what I'm saying, it's about to get real rough and rowdy out in these streets. So y'all, you know, be careful and take care of each other out there. Let me go back to some other people. Katir and family, if you have a strong point that you want to get to, and I miss you, just copy and paste it again. Patrick said, continue to apply pressure and run for local office and vote. Okay. Lakeem says, we're not going to get everyone. Okay, I said that. The answer to our liberation is us. Ashe. Yeah, Ashe. I agree with that. I think what we do is we keep looking outside of ourselves for somebody to come and save us, and we think we're gonna vote for a Democrat and they gonna save us. You know what I'm saying? We think we can go to the churches and pray to. Let me not go there. Let me not go there. I'm with you, Lakeem, because I don't want to offend nobody tonight. We're going to soon be forced to do for ourselves as masses of us start suffering. If you don't have a race-first state of mind, you get left behind. Good point, Devon. Good point. That's another thing we run from. You know, we run from that. You know, despite the fact that every other group of people on earth put their race first, except for us. You know, that's because of our dissonance. We really have a disorder. It's a real disorder. And it's called cognitive dissonance. And it's real. A lot of us suffer from it. Not just black people, but a lot of black people in this society suffer from it. And so what we do is we're afraid to offend. We think that we're going to offend somebody else. So we try to be all inclusive. You know what I'm saying? I love everybody. Which is foolish talk. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. And so we take this all-inclusive attitude towards life when we don't realize that that's actually hurting us more than it's helping us. Because every other group of people on earth put themselves and their own people first. They don't have to say it. They're not out in the street screaming white power, some of them are, or Asian power, or support Chinese and buy Chinese. They're not doing that. Why? Because they don't have to. Because they're doing it. They don't have to scream support your own people, because they doing it. They putting themselves first. They putting their people first. They gonna make sure they eat first before they, you know what I'm saying, they before anything else. They gonna make sure their children get the best of education and all that kind of stuff. We the only ones out here have to scream support your own, because we sick. We mentally sick in our minds because we don't support each other. Despite us having more wealth than a lot of other countries. Black people right here in this society got more wealth, got more resources. And yet and still look at where we are. You know, look what we do with our resources. So we got to scream. Other people got to scream who understand the power of financial, economic collectivity, and we got to scream into everybody else. Come on, y'all got, you know, stop giving your money, all your money to all these other people who are already rich as cream, and start supporting and pouring back to your own neighborhoods and your own businesses and your own communities. Yeah, we got to scream that, because we the only ones ain't doing it. Yeah, so Devon, no doubt, you don't have a race first state of mind, you do get left behind. And not only you get left behind, you get stomped on. You get stomped on and stomped behind, because ain't nobody gonna respect you. We sit up here begging somebody to stop killing us and all this kind of stuff, and then the next thing you know, you look in our inner cities and stuff with our young men and out here, you know what I'm saying, killing each other left and right. You know what I'm saying? Gunfire and gun shooting. As soon as somebody bring that to our attention, we want to scream. We want to project that step. You know, we know how it happened. Yeah, we know how it happened. We understand how the ghettos originated and where it come from, and this whole system of oppression we find ourselves in, and how we find ourselves in this predicament. Yes, you know, I'm not naive and ignorant to that. But here we are. And there our little brothers and sisters are killing each other. And so what are we going to do? Okay, we know how we got in that predicament. What are we waiting for the same people who put us in that predicament to get us out? That's insanity. So yeah, we got to address that. So we can't continue to push that to the side and say that don't matter, and because the police killing us and that's a different issue. Yeah, it's a different issue. But when are we going to address what's going on in our own communities? When are we going to handle that situation? And because we don't, and because we refuse to, nobody else respects us. We don't get the respect we deserve because we're not even respecting ourselves. We're not even doing what we need to do for our own selves when we have the ability to do it. So yeah, and then we look at other people who disrespect us, and we find ourselves on the bottom of every barrel. but we mad and frustrated about it, but we don't take the necessary steps ourselves to fix it. So ain't nobody gonna respect us, you know, until we get the proper respect for ourselves. And that's that whole premise of loving yourself. Because when you have that proper love for yourself, you don't wait around for nobody else to fix your problems. You know, you roll your sleeves up and you get the work in. Katia says, no, we have to leave here. Legit, to me, that is the only real solution. And as far as we are in Westphalia sovereignty, which sets a particular form of governance as African descendants, yes, I think you're going into more science right now. Excuse me, family. Federal protection. Yes, sir. We need to be afraid because we are too comfortable. We really are. We really are too. We've taken on a lot of the characteristics of our former slave masters. You cannot live in a society such as this and live, work, eat, sleep, entertain yourselves, go to school in this society. We don't run nothing, you know what I'm saying? We're being frank and honest with ourselves. And so we take on the characteristics of the rulership. You know, we take on their names. They're not walking around with African names, or, you know what I'm saying? We're walking around with European names. They're not walking around speaking Swahili. We walking around speaking English. They're not walking around with dashikis on. We're walking around with, you know, European style clothing on. So my point is that just by sheer nature, sheer cause and effect, we take on the characteristics and the personalities of the dominant class, right? And so we get comfortable in that. So then we start to actually really believe. Then we start actually really convincing our minds that it's a we thing. It's not a us and them. It's a we. We are collective all together. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, one at the top and another at the bottom. But yet and still, we're comfortable in this dynamic. We find ourselves more, you know what I'm saying? Don't want to disrupt the status quo. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You ruffling too many feathers. No, what y'all doing down there? Don't be making too much noise. Stop that. You know what I'm saying? Because you really have bought into the system. You bought into this life. You know what I'm saying? And me included. I'm not putting myself outside of anything because I am, because you are. We are. You know what I'm saying? So I live here too. I'm speaking English too. You know what I'm saying? I have on European clothes or you know, I try to buy black every chance I get. But, you know, the reality of the matter is I live in a society that is dominated by people who don't necessarily look like me and don't necessarily have my best interests at heart. Because if we understood the yin and the yang, then we know that there'll never be a we. There'll never be a we in this society. You know what I'm saying? Why would somebody give another people full equal access to their wealth and power? Why would they do that? Why would you do that? Would you do that? That's not even intelligent, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And so we look at this thing where we've bought into. We've actually bought into the idea that this is a whole melting pot us thing. Meanwhile, we on the bottom of every barrel that is of any importance in life. Economics, social economics, and education, and poverty, and you name it. You just come on, you can go down the list and find where you find black people in this society on the rung of all those things. Okay, I know I'm rambling. Let me get y'all in here. I'm trying to see if somebody else. Here we go. Onayimi. Please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your beautiful name. They want, I'm trying to see, they want the masses to go wild so they can call in the military. They want martial law. If there's a state of emergency, the one who's in office becomes king. We have no more rights as humans. We oh, I'm sorry, because, oh man, forgive me family, it's like really bright over here and I can barely read it. We are the line of, become king. We have no more rights as humans. We are at the line of choice. We can't trust one another. We have been taught to not trust one another from slavery. So that is true. So when we see the few that are causing the problem, we can't come together because of the so-called Jews who turn the Puerto Ricans against Mexicans, Jamaicans against Haitians, blacks against whites. They give them the access to slave and land. I say that they are chosen ones, and if you mess with them, the Creator will get you. It's sad. Yeah. He mentioned something about human rights. And I was thinking the other day, I said, how does another human give you human rights? I know that's a little off your topic, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there and let you guys think about that. How does another human being give you human rights? Think about that for a second. You know what I'm saying? Again, I think when we start to really question everything, our entire existence, you know, we'll start to see things in a different light. But yeah, beloved, good points. Yeah, and all that. You talking history. When you go back in history and you see how the ruling class maintains their rulership and maintains their power over the masses of the people, how do they do that? How does a small group of people on earth, how are they able to amass so much power and wealth over a vast majority of everybody else? How was that even done? Think about it. You know what I'm saying? It's done by divide and conquer, divisiveness. That's the main thing. So that's why I don't watch TV like that. I don't watch the news and stuff. It frustrates me because I see clearly how they do it. You know what I'm saying? You turn on Fox dogging out the Democrats. You turn on CNN dogging out the Republicans. That's deliberate, all by design, all systematic, family, all of it. And so the plan is, so you have to have the people fighting against one another in all facets. Then they go from there to class warfare, and you know what I'm saying, the poor against the rich, and you know what I'm saying, and then they go into education. You got an IQ, so we need this IQ because this tells us that you're more advanced than that one. And so the advanced one, so-called, so they think, they start looking down at the one who don't have a higher IQ. Well, now you got a college degree and somebody else ain't got a college degree. So I'm all that because you ain't got a college degree. You ain't there. You ain't where I'm at. All that is divide and conquer, family. All of it. And I see it clear as day. So that's why I can't even tune in, because it frustrates me. It frustrates me. I can't watch for 5 minutes. I'm ready to turn that crap off. And we feed right into it. We feed right into all that mess. And here we are, divided and conquered. Thank you, Lakeem. Yeah, I understand the writing on the wall, having my own food supply. Nobody's going to save us but ourselves. Nobody. We looking for politicians. We looking towards pastors and everybody but ourselves. Everybody except for stopping and thinking, what can I do? Little old me, what can I do to make the greatest impact in this life? You know, we don't. We look for everybody else to do it for us. And here we are, you know, and we suffer the consequences for it too. You made an earlier comment, but you're not able to copy and paste, Saladin. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Carol. Please share my video. Please, family. You don't even have to ask. Yeah. Yo, we ain't sick. We don't support each other because some black people want to be white adjacent. Yeah, we all got our issues, every last one of us. And I think what we need to do too, family, is be more careful about pointing that finger at everybody else and pointing out everybody else's issues without understanding that you got them too. You know what I'm saying? Me included. I never like to take myself out of the discussion because I'm a work in progress. Ain't nothing perfect about me. You know what I'm saying? But I am mindful of that a lot of times that's what we do. Cause they stupid or they foolish or they need to wake up and we need, that's why I like to use that word we so often, because that all is a reminder of me that I am part of that. I'm part, I'm part of the group. I'm part of the whole. So when we start saying they ain't doing this, y'all need to do that, you need to stop doing that. Well, that take all those terms, take the onus off of yourself. It takes the onus off of ourselves. So it's like, okay, yeah, we all sick. if you a product of this society, you sick too. You know what I'm saying? You might not be, you might not be in the same ward as somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Your sickness might not look like somebody else's because you were able to get enough understanding or knowledge or information or whatever to be able to see through, some things that other people have not. But we all in this boat together, family. We are. So we got to be more mindful of tearing each other down so often and so frequently, as opposed to just sharing information. Share the information. And that way, if you have some information that somebody else may not have and it has helped you along the way, well, give that to somebody else. Be a blessing to them. Hey, Patrick, the biggest issues for most of our people is what Satan should we vote for. This is so darn sad how we still see white folks and sell out Negroes to save us. Yeah, I just got finished saying that. That's true. But again, why do we do that? Let's dig into why then. If we know, if some of us understand that crap ain't nothing but plantation living. You know what I'm saying? We looking for somebody else, another slave master to rule over us. Now we're going to go on the voting polls and vote for another slave master. We say, anybody but Trump. Okay, well, all of them is upholding white supremacy. All of them. Even the black ones. You know what I'm saying? Even the black ones. The agenda is to uphold whites. They ain't going to let you get far in that sense. Why do you think that nobody like a radical Huey Newton or a radical Malcolm X or a radical Minister Farrakhan or people like that ever went high in the rankings of the political arena? Why do you think that is? You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna let you in because they got a status quo to uphold. So the politicians that look like you and me that are willing to uphold the status quo, yeah, they're gonna let you come on through. They need you. They can use you because they use you to set the rest of us in line. But the ones who really, look, I want reparations. I ain't taking no for an answer. I'm going to do everything I need to do to fight to get what I need to, get for my people solely. And people, black power, stand up in the Capitol building screaming black power. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. You don't see that, and that's for a reason, because they got a power structure to uphold. And they ain't going to let people, like that take them kind of positions, because they need somebody that's going to maintain the status quo, which is white supremacy. So yeah, all them politicians and stuff we keep voting for, thinking they gonna save us. We better get a clue, family. Hey, Joe, we as a people need to stay out of other races' business and take care of our house first and stop worrying about them because they are not thinking about you. Black first is a way of life It's a thought process that shouldn't even have to be mentioned. It should be automatic in every single one of us. It absolutely, Joe. And I know you know what you're talking about, because you out there, you know, down there where you are, being independent. You know, you grow your own food and all that kind of stuff, you know, so you're independent out there. So, you know, and it should be automatic in every single one of us. It should be, but it's not. And that's because of our education. We've been conditioned outside of our natural selves. We've been conditioned that way through years of education. You know, they get them young. They get you young. After a while, you know, they get you young enough. After a while, you know what I'm saying? The system becomes on autopilot. They ain't gotta do nothing else. All they gotta do is keep going with the curriculum. Keep going with the curriculum, because the parents then indoctrinates their own children. You know what I'm saying? And then somebody like you or me, Joe, to come up and try to say anything different, they look at us like we crazy. We the crazy ones, because in their minds it's so far off of what they've been conditioned to believe and think and feel that, you know, we become the outcasts. It's deep. It's deep. So it's like a whole new paradigm, a whole new mind shift has to take place. That's why I applaud them parents who get it and don't allow their children to be indoctrinated. They don't even put them in them schools. They teach them themselves, or they give them to other people who understand, have the same thought processes of mine, and they send their children to them to be educated and things like that, because that's where it starts. It actually starts before they go to school. You know, I got a grandbaby, 3 years old, and it irks the heck out of me every time I see her, and she likes the little pad like all the little children do, and she gets on the little iPad, and she plays her little videos, and every video she plays got some freaking little white something, Europeanized something that she's watching. She ain't even in school yet. So she's already getting systematically conditioned. Hey, you can go even further, go before that. Let's take for example, the Gerber baby jars, and your Gerber baby bottles, and little toys and stuff you bring home for your infants and stuff to play with, and the box that it come in, and all these little white characters on it, and, you know, singing white nursery rhymes, stuff like that. Man, it's deep. We are conditioned long before we even understand it. Yeah. And so, then when the children grow up and they get to my age, and you thinking we all the same except for the color of our skin, and we all just gotta love one another, and da-da-da. Yeah, because you learn from an infant how to look up to these people as opposed to your own. Katera said, when I was a kid, Southside Chicago had wealth and black ownership. Neoliberalism stopped that away from us. I can't speak on other places, but I know why the South Side was straight. Yes, sir. Apply Powernomics to our community. Yes, Patrick, that's Dr. Claude Anderson's one of his greatest works. He has many, but he has a book out called Powernomics, and I implore all of us to get his works, any of them. For me, Black Labor, White Wealth was the eye-opener for me. His book, Dr. Claude Anderson, somebody do me a favor and type that for the family. Powernomics is one. Black Labor, White Wealth is another. He has a few other books out. You know, he has a lot of videos out on YouTube. Tune in to that brother. That brother got a political agenda that we need to be adherent to. Really, that's why I was saying earlier on my page. It was like, you know, we have very brilliant scholars in our midst that have excellent plans that if we take heed and follow on a large scale, we will find ourselves in a better position. We won't have to be sitting out here marching and burning up our shoe leather, because if we follow these specific plans that these brilliant people have implemented and have out here for us to gain from. So tune in to Dr. Claude Anderson, because he's one, especially if you're into politics. If you're black in America and you're into politics, then you need to know who that man is and what his agenda is. Check him out. Too many of us are wallowing in our own ignorance, and our enemies know that. This is where they keep us oppressed, suppressed, and depressed. Now it's time to break the chains of this ignorance and take back that which is rightfully ours. Yeah, we're in a good position right now. You know, we're in a good position to be able to chart our own path in life, and it's nothing stopping us. Really ain't. You know, we like to use the excuse, some of us, that, you know, oh, they not gonna let us. They ain't gonna let us do that. They ain't gonna. You know, I heard Minister Farrakhan say America's for sale. That's a real talk. That's a real talk. America is for sale. Yeah, I think when we get enough self-confidence to know that we have everything we need to do whatever we want. You know, we have everything we need in our positions. The only thing we don't have is the will. It's the actual will to do it. I will do whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that is because of our conditioning, our mental conditioning. You know, we have been dependent for so long on another people that we actually really believe that we can't do this thing ourselves, that we can't get out here. We really think we need them to provide for us. You know what I'm saying? Will times get rough? Absolutely. I'm not a utopiast. I'm not out here proclaiming that all we need to do is shift some things and life will be gravy and things will be good for us. No, we're gonna have to go through the storm. We're gonna have to go through the eye of storm. And it's going to be scary. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be deadly. You know, all that. I'm not here to sugarcoat none of that. But we gotta go through the eye of the storm in order to come out of the other end. We got to. And so right now, what we keep doing is we keep looking and harping on the same people who put us in this predicament to get us out. And that's not smart. It's not intelligent. It's not smart. It's not smart. We have to change the way we think about things. Until we take control of the media, us and our kids watch, our minds will continue to receive it as truth. Yep. And the music we listen to become the victim of both. Our perception becomes our reality. Yes. Good point. Be careful what you see, and be careful what you hear. It creates the boys in the hood or menace to society. Entertainment is culprit. Who said that? Yes. On the email. On point. So on point. Yeah, we think it's harmless. We look at those things, and you can just watch the digression. It's not a progression, it's the digression. The digression of music and how that affects even our speech. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, you know, it's been at one point where you couldn't hear half the things the way people talk on TV now that you used to, not even 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And every other word is a curse word, and you know what I'm saying? We're just raunchy with everything that we do, and you know what I'm saying? The music, we think that the music has to be riddled with all this foul and garbage language in order for it to hit our spirit. You know, we should think about that kind of stuff. And then what that's doing to our children. That's, you know what I'm saying? So they growing, so they don't know nothing different. I can remember at a time when every other song that came on the radio was a ballad, with brothers singing his love to the woman and raising her high on a pedestal, and you know what I'm saying, and confessing his love to her and things, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's always been innuendos of songs that kind of allude to sexuality and things like that, but it wasn't so in your face as it is now. And what does that do to the conscious level of a people? What does that do to the morality of society now that, you know what I'm saying, you think that that's normal behavior, that every other word is the B word, and you're talking about drugs and sex and materialistic items is the most everything, that's all you hear, that's all the children hear all day every day in the music. And what do you think that's going to do to them children moving forward, growing up? You know what I'm saying? So the morality level of the society gets lower and lower and lower and lower, and we don't understand how we do it to ourselves, because we're human. We're like our bodies are like machines, are like computers. It's like after a while you ain't even gotta think about it. It becomes just who you are and what you do, your subconscious. So all your girlfriends are B's and all your male friends are N's, and that's the way it is. You know? So family, anyways, you know, I know I'm going on a rampant. Let's see. Yes, they are nothing more, Joe, than two sides of the same coin. Yeah, they pit us against each other on purpose to stay in power. Time to pick up the gun, David said. The revolution has come. It's time to pick up the gun. There's a lot of folks right there with you. Now more than ever before, we need to be able to be self-reliant, self-sufficient, self-sustaining, because as the people have said already, no one is coming to save us but us. Yeah, we got to get that through our thick skulls. I'm being more practical in Tacky's war or any of the slave revolts that got stopped because of snitches. Yeah, Katira, funny you say that, because I was reading this book. I've been reading this book. I'll show you guys. It's called The Long Walk to Freedom, Runaway Slave Narratives. And within this book, there are stories, different stories of our ancestors who were enslaved, who ran away, and they lived to tell their stories. Fascinating stuff. Fascinating. Nat Turner's story is in here. And I just got finished reading just his whole enactment. I mean, from his own words. Now, he didn't write it, but the person who interviewed him before he was killed wrote down what he said, his story of what happened. And what stood out for me more than anything else is I was like, damn, his own people turned him in. His own people. I was like, I wonder how much progress they could have made had they had more people joining. He did. He got people along the way to join him. Started off with like 5 of them. And actually, Nat Turner, believe it or not, he wasn't the one doing most of the killing. It was his right-hand man. What was his name? I forget. It was another guy. I know I'm jumping off course, but it was fascinating. It was another brother who was with him who did most of the killing. He said a lot of times, you know, by the time he got to the house, he had already killed the whole family. So, yeah. And another thing that stood out for me was, I lost my train of thought. Nat Turner had all these, the people who, the two little youngins saw him in the woods. He was hiding out in a little barrel. Found a little cave down in the little barrel. He was there for 6 weeks. And, he had a water source close to him. That's how he was able to stay alive for so long. I think there was somebody else helping him. I think it was a sister helping him. I heard that too. Somebody else told me that. But as he was telling the depiction of his story, he said all he had was water to drink. And I'm thinking to myself, nah, Nat. I think he had one of them sisters who was helping him stay alive. But anyway, but he didn't want to say. He didn't want to give her away. But there was two little youngins. Two little youngins came of black boys. Saw him and ran. The first thing they did was ran and went and told the white man. That's how he got caught. So again, I say all that, this long story short, to say, yeah, it be us hurting us. You know what I'm saying? We the ones that want to silence the ones who all they want is freedom for us all. You know what I'm saying? All they want is black liberation. You know what I'm saying? And them the ones we want snitch on and go tell massa on and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, man, it's sad. Saladin, they always have to reshape the system the more conscious we become. And if we remain, yes, let me repeat that. They always have to reshape the system the more conscious we become. Family, let that sink in, because he is so on point. And if we remain economical, disempowered, and unorganized, we'll always be on the less side of the fight. Yes, you must understand that we are at war. We've always been at war. The same people, you know, the same genetic makeup and form of people who enslaved us. You know what I'm saying? That type of internal sickness don't just dissipate and go away without proper healing. You know what I'm saying? So where does it go? What does it do? It travels down a line. The same way you can sing real good because your grandmother used to be able to sing real good. Or the same way your child got green eyes or light gray eyes because they great grandfather had light gray eyes on their father's side. Okay, so the same genetic makeup, whether it be physical or spiritual, family, that comes down the line, it's the same on their side too. Why do we think it stops with us? No. So that type of mindset of, you know, those people who actually had the gall to take another group of people and enslave them, and not only that, but rape them and kill them and pillage them and call them not even human and do all mannerism of evil to your ancestors, and to think that type of mind state has now all of a sudden disappeared. It no longer exists. No, it comes down the line the same way the nature of our ancestors come down our line. And so he says they always have to reshape the system the more conscious we become. So they, you know, ain't nothing too much change. All they did is get smarter on how to keep us controlled without the chains, without the physical chains. So if more and more and more of us start to wake up to the understanding of what's happening to us, well, what we need to switch up some, they on their end, they thinking we need to switch some stuff up on our end so we can clamp down even harder. So, family, wake up, family. They get us with the entertainment. We get sidetracked. Sports, reality shows, fast fashions. While they change laws and we don't even know, we release a fluid from the brain that poisons our immune. That poisons our immune system to be jacked up. And they know that they pay the scientists big bucks to keep us messed up with news and messed up verdicts in our judicial system. They want order out of chaos. It's the plan. So don't fall for it. Yeah, people will look at that and call you a conspiracy theorist, beloved. They'll read that and say, "Oh, you just, you know, just conspiracy." But no, it's diabolical. It's diabolical, and it's always been these diabolical people have always, you know, as long as they've been on earth, there's always been these type of people, and that's why it's so important to gain history, to get the historical record, because when you understand the history, then you get it clear as day as what's going on today. You know what I'm saying? So you understand better. So yeah, those type of minds have always been amongst us. Well, as long as they've been here, there's always been them type of mindsets. So yeah, so you got to be one step ahead and understand, because if you don't understand that those diabolical people exist and their whole sole purpose, what the things that make you, that feeds you your energy and gives you excitement and gives you happiness and joy and all that kind of stuff. Well, there's some people that share this earth with us, and they get those same kind of pleasures out of making your life miserable, making your life a living hell. You know what I'm saying? Really, that's real talk. And they in a lot of powerful positions, you know, and you got to understand that. You know, because when you do, you don't get tripped up. You're better able to protect yourself and your family and your loved ones when you understand what's happening. So yeah, spot on, brother. James, hey Joyce. I don't want to say that they don't really care about us. Never ever. It's a war. Yeah, it's a war, beloved. Yep. Black Labor, White Wealth. Yes, Junine, that was one of my favorite books. It opened my eyes about the whole political arena wider. You know how, you know, it's one of the things that Dr. Claude taught that set up, and this ain't no just fly by night. He's been in the political arena, you know, big time, you know, for a large portion of his life. So he speak on these type of things with credibility. But Black Labor, White Wealth, one of the things he said that stuck out to me was in that book how right after Reconstruction, right after the Civil War, blacks in this country own 1/2 or 1% of all the land in this country. And then whenever he wrote that book, which was maybe about 8-10 years ago, at that time, blacks in this country owned 1/2 or 1% of all the wealth, all the land, all the wealth, 1/2 or 1% of all the wealth. So, you know, we look at small pockets of individuals who make what we would consider a plush living and existence for themselves. Some of the Hollywood stars, some of the sports people like Oprah, Magic Johnson, people like those who, you know, and then we look at that and we think to ourselves, oh, it's possible. Look, you know what I'm saying? You got a lot of rich black people in this society. But what we don't take into account is they are very few in comparison to the many, right? So those are pockets of individuals, and we don't take it into account. So if the basketball player is making $30 million a year, what's the owner making? You know, what's the owner of them players making? And so we don't put things in account. And it's like, why wouldn't you want to be the owner? Why wouldn't you want to be the master of your own destiny? Why, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, my point is that everywhere you look, you know what I'm saying, there's always going to be those that are above, as opposed to us just breaking off and branching out and doing our own thing. You know, why don't we feel like we have the capability to be, we did it before, to be able to, you know, create our own leagues, sports leagues and arenas, and build our own arenas and you know, things like that. But we don't have the will, and a lot of us we don't even think in that way, because we really don't have the confidence enough in ourselves to believe that it's possible. We look at it as foolish talk, silly talk. But they did it. What's so different for them than for us? So if they did it and they're doing it and they're you know, they're excelling, why can't we do the same thing and even better? But we got to have enough confidence in ourselves and know that it's possible. I'm about to get off this thing because I've been going. Kidder replying to David, he said the Black Panther Party created a great 10-point program and community service. Yeah, and they all kind of link together. There's a Nation of Islam's, you know, pretty much when you start looking at all those 10-point programs that all our black leaders with the mainstream will call radical, leaders have put out, they're all kind of intertwined and linked together. All of them saying the same thing. Hey, Aquil. Unfortunately, and this is going to be the last point, unfortunately, we as a people, even those who really believe they're conscious, don't know just how far down the ignominy they have dumbed us down. Our slowness to wake up is very dangerous to our existence under deadly oppression. Knowledge is sight and ignorance is blind. How can we win the war blind and unaware of the war? Yeah, like in a war and believe that we gotta all love each other. Oh God, forgive me for laughing. You know what I'm saying? So you really getting beat down, knocked out, dragged out, fight. And I'm not even talking physical. I'm talking every other realm. We out here suffering from heart disease. #1 killer in America, heart disease. Matters of the heart. And we don't think that that goes beyond the physical. Matters of the heart. We out here suffering, fam. You can't be watching every other day your brothers and sisters get abused the way our people getting abused in this society and think that that don't affect you. You know what I'm saying? Severely, you know? And so it matters of the heart. And so the #1 way we're dying out here is from heart disease. And we don't tie that into the social construct, the social order of things. You know what I'm saying? We got to tie it in. So yes, and when we don't have that information, we maneuver in ignorance, as my brother was explaining. And when you're maneuvering ignorance, that becomes deadly. It's a dangerous game. And then what happens is now you can't do nothing but teach your own children ignorance. And so now they maneuvering in ignorance, sitting up here marching and screaming, "We shall overcome," and thinking that dating and having children by Europeans and all that stuff is going to make everything all right. And, you know what I'm saying, all that kind of stuff. We can just play the game. We just, you know, some of us think we just don't ruffle no feathers and be quiet and go to work and do what we need to do and everything going to be all right. No, them walls going to start closing in, because no one person can rise above the conditions of their people. I repeat, no one person can rise above the conditions of their people. That's another Minister Farrakhan quote. Yeah, we keep thinking we can be individuals out here, and I ain't got nothing to do with that, and I'm good, and I'm all right, and you need to take care of your own home, and carrying on taking that attitude about life in general, and think that that's going to save you. No, we all in this thing together. And the sooner we realize that, the better off we all will be. You can't go nowhere without without your people. You know what I'm saying? But in the hell, why would you want to? Why the hell you want to live high on a horse and high and mighty somewhere off to yourself in the mountains or something, and everybody else around you suffering? What that say about you? What that make you? That's going to be my last point of the evening, family. Hey, Linda, thanks for coming in. Family, I always say, if I said anything this evening that resonated with you, please share this message with other people. And you never know who's on the other side of that share, that some of the things that we discussed tonight can help them clarify some things, or, you know, even challenge. Maybe you hear some things tonight that you completely and solely and totally disagree with. That's fine too. We're here for the discourse, you know, long as we can do it civilized and still love each other and walk away with love for each other, then, you know, we can do that too. So all right, family. Hey, Saladin, thanks, Sister Alkamar, for spending meaningful time in important discussion with your brothers and sisters. I appreciate you, your mind and spirit. And to all of you guys too, family, thank you. I am because you are. It's just nothing but a reflection. You know, it's whatever's drawn and attracted you to this live stream tonight is because, you know, there's some kindred spirit stuff going on. So right back at you, all of you, family. Love you all. Take care of each other out there. Peace.